Behind the gilded walls of Windsor Castle lies a conspiracy so sinister, so carefully orchestrated, that it threatens to bring down the British monarchy forever. For months, strange accidents have been plaguing Kate Middleton. A mysterious car brake failure, a deadly allergic reaction at a royal dinner, a suspicious fall down the palace stairs. What everyone believed were unfortunate coincidences were actually calculated attempts on her life. And the mastermind? Queen Camilla herself. But Camilla made one fatal mistake. She underestimated Prince William's determination to protect his wife. When William discovered a hidden recording device in Kate's bedroom, when he found mysterious poison traces in her tea, when he uncovered encrypted messages planning Kate's accident, he realized his stepmother wasn't just jealous of Kate's popularity. She was systematically trying to eliminate her. The truth is more terrifying than anyone imagined. Camilla has been secretly working with a network of palace insiders, foreign agents, and hired assassins to remove Kate from the picture permanently. Why? Because Kate's rising popularity threatens Camilla's position as the most powerful woman in the royal family. But now William has the evidence, and he's about to expose everything in a way that will shock the world and bring justice for every attempt on his wife's life. What exactly did William discover? How deep does this conspiracy go? And will Camilla's deadly obsession with power finally be her downfall? In the early hours of October 2025, a chilling discovery would change everything William thought he knew about his family. It started when Kate collapsed during what should have been a routine charity event at St. James Palace. One moment, she was gracefully cutting the ribbon for a children's hospital fundraiser, smiling at the cameras. The next, she was on the ground, her body convulsing, foam coming from her mouth. The royal medical team rushed in immediately. Severe allergic reaction, Dr. Harrison, the royal physician, announced grimly as they loaded Kate into the ambulance. But there was a problem. Kate had no known allergies. She'd eaten the same catered food dozens of times before at similar events. William rode in the ambulance, holding Kate's hand as she struggled to breathe, his mind racing with questions that shouldn't have existed. This wasn't the first accident. 3 weeks earlier, Kate's official car had suffered mysterious brake failure while driving through London. Only the quick thinking of her protection officer, who grabbed the emergency brake, prevented a catastrophic crash into oncoming traffic. The investigation concluded it was a mechanical fault. Strange, considering the vehicle had been serviced just days before. Then there was the incident at Balmoral Castle 2 months ago. Kate had been walking down the main staircase when several steps suddenly gave way, sending her tumbling down 15 stone steps. She'd suffered a concussion and broken ribs. The royal engineers claimed it was due to old wood deterioration, but these were the same stairs that had supported the royal family for over a century without incident. William had initially dismissed these as terrible luck. But as he sat in the hospital watching Kate fight for her life, connected to machines that monitored her every heartbeat, a dark suspicion began growing in his mind. 3 accidents in 3 months, he whispered to himself, his hands clenched into fists. What are the odds? That night, while Kate remained in intensive care, William made a decision that would change everything. Instead of returning to Kensington Palace, he drove to Windsor Castle, where Camilla was hosting a private dinner for several European dignitaries. He needed to look her in the eyes, to see her reaction when she learned about Kate's condition. Camilla was in the grand dining room, wearing an elegant black gown, laughing with the French ambassador when William burst in. The laughter died instantly. "William, darling, what a surprise," Camilla said, her voice smooth as silk. But William noticed something, a flicker in her eyes, almost like satisfaction, before she quickly composed herself. "Kate's in the hospital," William announced to the room. "Severe poisoning during the charity event today." He watched Camilla's face carefully. A normal person would have shown shock, concern, immediate questions about Kate's condition. Instead, Camilla's first reaction was to check her watch. "Oh my, how unfortunate! I do hope she recovers quickly." That single moment, the lack of genuine surprise, the calculated response, confirmed William's worst fears. This wasn't coincidence. This was deliberate, and Camilla knew more than she was letting on. The next morning, while Kate remained sedated in the hospital, William began his own investigation. He started with the charity event, requesting all security footage, all catering records, all staff lists. What he discovered chilled him to the bone. The catering company used for the event was different from their usual provider, a last-minute change that had been personally requested by Camilla's office only 48 hours before. When William's security team traced the company, they found it was owned by Viktor Petrov, a former Russian intelligence operative with connections to international assassination networks. But the real breakthrough came when William decided to search their private quarters at Kensington Palace. Kate was still unconscious, and William had dismissed all staff for the day, claiming he needed private time to think. What he was actually doing was conducting the most important search of his life.
In Kate's dressing room, behind an antique mirror that had been a wedding gift from the Queen, William found something that made his blood run cold. A tiny electronic device, no bigger than a coin, with a blinking red light. It was a listening device, professionally installed, with military-grade encryption. Someone had been monitoring Kate's private conversations for months. But that was just the beginning. In their bedroom, hidden inside the frame of a family photograph, was another device. This one, a camera, positioned to record their most intimate moments. William's hands shook as he carefully removed it, realizing that their entire private life had been under surveillance. The devices were sophisticated, expensive, and definitely not the work of tabloid journalists. This was intelligence-level technology, the kind used by government agencies and professional assassins. William carefully collected everything, his mind racing. Who had access to their private quarters? Who could install such devices without being detected? That evening, William received a call that would provide the missing piece of the puzzle. It was Detective Inspector Sarah Mitchell from Scotland Yard's Counterintelligence Unit. "Your Royal Highness, we've completed the analysis of the substance that poisoned your wife. It's not something you can accidentally ingest. This is ricin, one of the deadliest biological weapons known to man. Whoever did this wanted her dead." Ricin. William knew enough about poisons from his military training to understand the implications. This wasn't a warning or a scare tactic. This was a professional assassination attempt. Someone with serious resources and connections had tried to murder his wife. The next few days became a blur of secret meetings and covert investigations. William couldn't trust the regular palace security. Whoever was behind this clearly had inside access. Instead, he reached out to contacts from his military days, former SAS operatives who now worked in private security. What they uncovered was a conspiracy that reached to the very heart of the royal family. Phone records showed dozens of encrypted calls between Camilla's private secretary, Marcus Wellington, and various untraceable numbers across Europe. Financial records revealed payments of over £2 million from accounts linked to Camilla's private funds to shell companies in Switzerland and Cyprus. But the smoking gun came from an unexpected source, Camilla's own phone. During a dinner at Clarence House, while Camilla was distracted entertaining guests, one of William's operatives managed to clone her device. What they found in her deleted messages was devastating. Phase 1 complete. Target eliminated at charity event, awaiting confirmation of success. The message was sent to an encrypted number at exactly the same time Kate collapsed. Another message, sent 2 days later when it became clear Kate had survived: target stronger than expected. Move to phase 2. Make it look like suicide this time. The final message was the most chilling. If conventional methods fail, car accident remains the cleanest option. Diana Protocol can be repeated if necessary. William stared at the screen, his face pale with rage and disbelief. Diana Protocol. They were planning to kill Kate the same way they had killed his mother. The realization hit him like a physical blow. His mother's death wasn't an accident. It was murder. And now they were planning to do the same thing to Kate. But why? What was Camilla's motive for wanting Kate dead? The answer came from an unlikely source: polling data from the royal family's private research company. The numbers told a clear story. Kate's popularity ratings had skyrocketed to 89%, making her the most beloved member of the royal family. Meanwhile, Camilla's approval ratings had plummeted to just 23%, making her one of the most disliked queens in British history. More damaging were the internal palace reports showing that major donors and Commonwealth leaders were beginning to suggest that Charles should step aside in favor of William and Kate. The monarchy's future, they argued, depended on the younger, more popular couple taking the throne immediately. For Camilla, who had spent decades clawing her way to the throne, who had endured public hatred and media attacks to become queen, this was an existential threat. If Charles abdicated in favor of William, she would lose everything: her title, her position, her power. She would go from being queen consort to nothing more than the king's ex-wife. So, she had decided to eliminate the threat. If Kate was gone, William would be too devastated to rule effectively, Charles would remain king, and Camilla would retain her position. It was ruthless, it was calculated, and it was working, until William discovered the truth. Armed with evidence that could destroy Camilla forever, William faced an impossible choice. He could expose everything, bring down the monarchy, and see his father's wife imprisoned for attempted murder and treason. Or he could find another way to stop her while protecting the institution he was born to serve. William chose a third option, one that would be far more devastating to Camilla than any prison sentence. He decided to beat her at her own game. Instead of going to the police immediately, William began feeding false information through channels he knew Camilla was monitoring. He let it slip that Kate was planning to attend a private meditation retreat in Scotland, at a remote location with minimal security. He made sure Camilla's spies overheard conversations about Kate being emotionally fragile and considering stepping back from royal duties permanently. The bait was irresistible. If Camilla could eliminate Kate at this remote location, it would look like a suicide brought on by the pressure of royal life. The perfect crime with no evidence pointing back to her. But William was ready. The meditation retreat was actually a joint operation with MI5 and Scotland Yard. Kate was safely hidden in a
secure location while professional operatives took her place. Every move Camilla made, every person she contacted, every plan she developed was being monitored and recorded. The trap was sprung on a foggy October morning in the Scottish Highlands. Camilla's hired assassin, believing he was eliminating Kate, instead found himself surrounded by armed police. The entire operation was captured on hidden cameras, Camilla's voice giving final instructions, the money transfer for the assassination, everything needed to prove her guilt beyond doubt. But William still wasn't finished. He wanted the world to see exactly what kind of person had been sitting on the throne of England. In a coordinated media blitz, evidence of Camilla's assassination plots was released to every major news outlet simultaneously. Hidden camera footage, recorded phone calls, financial records, everything laid bare for the world to see. The reaction was immediate and devastating. Within hours, protests were erupting outside Buckingham Palace. Parliament was calling for emergency sessions. Commonwealth leaders were demanding Camilla's immediate removal from all royal duties. The hashtag Camilla the Killer was trending worldwide. But the most damaging revelation was yet to come. In a live television interview that would break viewership records, William revealed the truth about his mother's death. playing audio recordings of Camilla discussing the Diana Protocol, showing financial records connecting her to the same networks that had orchestrated the Paris car crash, presenting evidence that had been hidden for over 25 years. "My mother didn't die in an accident," William said, looking directly into the camera, his voice steady but filled with controlled rage. "She was murdered by the same woman who tried to kill my wife. The same woman who has been sitting on the throne of England, pretending to serve the people while planning their deaths." The revelation shattered the royal family forever. King Charles, faced with overwhelming evidence of his wife's crimes, was forced to choose between his crown and his marriage. In an unprecedented move, he announced both his immediate abdication and his divorce from Camilla, effective immediately. Camilla, stripped of her titles and protection, was arrested within hours. The charges were extensive: conspiracy to commit murder, treason, money laundering, and terrorism. But the most serious charge was one that hadn't been used in centuries: regicide, the attempted murder of future monarchs. As Camilla was led away in handcuffs, her face no longer showing the composed mask she had worn for decades, but instead revealing the cold, calculating killer beneath, William stood with Kate and their children, finally able to breathe freely for the first time in months. The coronation of King William V took place 6 months later, in a ceremony that broke with centuries of tradition. Instead of focusing on pageantry and ancient rituals, William used his coronation speech to promise that never again would the monarchy be used as a tool for personal ambition and murderous schemes. "Today, we close a dark chapter in royal history," William declared, the St. Egwald's crown heavy on his head, but his voice strong and clear. "My mother, Princess Diana, finally has justice. My wife and children are safe, and the British people can trust their royal family again." In the front row, Kate sat with George, Charlotte, and Louis, her wedding ring catching the light as she applauded her husband. She had survived the most sophisticated assassination plot in modern history, and now she would be queen of the nation that had tried to kill her. As for Camilla, she would spend the rest of her life in a maximum security prison, her dreams of power replaced by the reality of a concrete cell. The woman who had schemed and murdered her way to the throne had lost everything: her title, her freedom, her legacy. But perhaps most fittingly, she had been brought down by the very person she had underestimated. William, the son of the woman she had murdered, the husband of the woman she had tried to kill, and now the king who would ensure that justice was finally served. The story ends with a message that resonates around the world. No one, no matter how powerful, is above justice. Evil may scheme in the shadows, but truth has a way of coming to light. And sometimes the best revenge is simply surviving long enough to see your enemies destroy themselves.